The Slavic world has had such a bad reputation
Oh my goodness.
for order brides.
Horrible reputation because historically people think that they will only rip you off. That's it,
That's
right?
it, exactly. I spent almost 2 years with her.
Wow.
We were totally in love, and it was the best 2 years of my life.
That's something that can waver negative experience.
Absolutely. And you know, if a Ukrainian woman introduces you to her parents,
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. That's correct.
How knowledgeable are people about the problem?
The most common call that we get is that I'm sick all the time when I'm in this building. When I leave this building, I'm fine.
After you've identified the problem, only then you commence solving the problem.
Exactly. The Ukrainian government,
Right.
they had put a request out. They needed help, people that in my industry, to help them figure out what is hurting the crop.
Your reputation speaks for itself. Hello everyone, welcome to the Be Yourself podcast, the podcast on expressing our true selves. Today my guest is Hank Miller, who is an owner of 9/11 Restoration. It's an emergency water intrusion services, and he's right now in Kyiv, Ukraine, and we're talking from the Skyloft Hotel. Hey man.
Hey, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to have this chat with you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank
Doing
you.
well?
Love it here.
How long have you been in Kyiv?
I've been here for almost a week now.
Almost a week. And what's this? Is this not the first time that you have come here?
No, this is the fourth time I've been to Ukraine.
Okay.
Actually came here 3 times during COVID.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. First time I came by accident, and I loved it so much. I ended up in Denny Pro and loved it so much that I came back 2 more times and met some government people by accident who were friends of friends, and they invited me to help them with their agricultural mold issues that they have.
Wow. So tell me a little bit more about the company, because from the name, it's not self-explanatory. Well, it's self-explanatory, 9/11 Restoration Emergency, but what exactly do you guys do, and how big is your business in the United States?
Yeah, so we specialize in, really, it's a battle of the unseen. In other words, people get sick, and it's not because they took something tangible and stuck it in their mouth and got sick. It's because they breathed it in, or they touched something and touched their mouth, and so that created an illness inside their body. Their body couldn't fight it, and so it had to. When it couldn't reject it, it then came in and it made you sick. Whether it's a common cold, whether it was COVID, whether it was food poisoning, or any of those things, that has caused illnesses all over the place. So we battle against all those unknown and unseen
Infections,
microbials and infections and viruses and bacterias. And there's 101,000 types of molds just in my area in the United States.
How knowledgeable are people about the problem? Because I think that there are businesses that deal with an existing problem that everyone understands, and there are markets where you have to educate people to actually get some interest in your services. Is that something that you're continually doing, educating people, and people like me? Because when you told me that this is a 4 out of 5 stars hotel, and Hank told me that it's still not up to the standards, not even close. So do you do some educating as you go?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to know. People, the most common call that we get is that I'm sick all the time when I'm in this building. When I leave this building, I'm fine.
Interesting.
And so, that's how the discussion usually begins. And so from that, you've got to expound on what's going on or what could be going on. And there's no absolutes in this business, not until you test. So in other words, I can walk in your house and we can see mold up on the wall, and you can say, this is mold. I need you to get rid of it. I'm going to tell you, we can say it's mold, but until I actually test it and send it to a certified lab that will then microscope it and test it and make sure and identify exactly what it is, then I can come back to you and say, yes, this is mold.
So that's what you do. You have people who first test, analyze,
Yes,
and after you've identified the problem, only then you commence solving the problem.
exactly. So when we know exactly what's going on and we know exactly the problem, then we can eradicate.
Okay. Okay. So what are the leading causes of health issues?
Water, moisture.
Ooh.
I mean, mold can grow and can form in two ways. So mold is everywhere. It's inside your house. It's outside your house.
I think I need to clean my air conditioning system.
Your duct system. Yes, that's part of our process.
I haven't done this, I'm afraid to say, like in years. So I think there is a problem there already, and I'm breathing this.
Absolutely. So if you look around your vents, you'll probably see some dust on your vents or black areas around your vents. Guaranteed that's mold.
Fuck me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so, but here you go. How did it get there? There's no water. So mold mold stays dormant, and it's because it's everywhere and it won't affect you while it's just sitting here. But when it does affect you, and the reason it comes to life, so mold it doesn't have a nervous system. It is a live animal, but it doesn't have a nervous system. So it can die and come back and die and come back and die and come back. And so in that process, we have to hunt down the moisture problem. But you say, Hank, there's no water in my house.
Yeah.
There's no leaks anywhere. Well, and I'm going to tell you, well, guess what? The humidity in the air, humidity is moisture. Yeah. And that humidity is enough to activate that mold and to bring it back to life. And that's why you have it in your air conditioner.
Quick one, guys. If you can help me to grow this channel by hitting the subscribe button, I would be really, 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 really thankful. Thank you very much for supporting me, and enjoy the show further. What type of specialists do you have on your team, and how big is your team? And how many offices or branches do you have?
Yeah, so there's over 100 branches in the United States.
Wow.
My team personally, we have about nine people. And so there's a certification in the United States. It's governed by an overseeing body called the IICRC. They are the ones who write the laws and the rules on how to identify and remove.
So sanitization rule book?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the basis, the scientific basis for getting rid of viruses, bacteria, mold, all that. They are the center for who or how to identify and how to write protocol on how to remove, all these bad organisms.
You even told me off the record that when there's a crime like a homicide, you can go help. Your company helps clean things up.
Yep.
Wow, man!
It's called biohazard.
Biohazard.
So biohazards could be a crime scene cleanup where people are shot, blood is shed, body remains. Bad term though is rotten bodies that have been sitting in a home for a couple weeks before they're identified, and also your toilet overflowing. That's in the same category, and so very dangerous stuff.
So you have contractors in your branches, because you said that you have 9 people on the team, but obviously 9 people cannot manage so many branches.
No. We have 9 in my local branch.
Oh,
and the one that I actually oversee.
Oh, okay. So what do you mean by 100? More than 100?
So we have 911 restoration offices across the country. Each office has their own their own team.
Okay, so you got one in Virginia specifically.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good transition, I think, to ask you about Virginia and how did you end up. First of all, you said that you were here before COVID. It's not like the war in Ukraine was something that put us on your map, because a lot of Americans started paying attention to Ukraine right after the war broke out.
That's right.
So you did it before even before war. So can you tell me about how you found out about our country, and is it solely traveling purposes or something else?
Well, so the first time the first trip that I made here was all by accident. I was actually planning on a trip to Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh,
And I wanted to travel through that region of the world. I've never been there before.
okay.
And I wanted to see Germany, in that area. And so when I got there, something didn't feel right. There was something in the air. I don't know what it was, but I didn't feel right.
You didn't vibe with Germany.
I felt very uncomfortable. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And so I went up to the counter, to the information counter, and I told the lady, I said, "Tell me somewhere that would be nice to go visit right now," basically. And so she said,
Ukraine?
and she said, "Well, I'm from Ukraine." That's what she said. She goes, "You should go see Ukraine.
So
it's a beautiful country."
So cool.
And here I am thinking, Russian and who knows whether it's safe or not, or one of those like Serbia kind of countries. I didn't know anything about it.
That was back in
2019.
Okay.
Or 20.
So pre-COVID.
No, right at COVID. When COVID had just started.
Okay.
I think COVID was identified in February, and this was May.
Okay.
And so she said you should go to Kyiv. I'm like, Kyiv, and so I opened up my phone and looked at the map.
Like what's
and I asked, I remember clearly, is it safe there? She goes, "Oh my God, you'll have so much fun there. Go to Ukraine."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, here, change my ticket." And so I ended up in Kyiv. I was at the airport, and I didn't know whether I should stay in Kyiv. The country's huge. So I went to the counter again, and I asked the lady, I said, "Where should I go visit?" And there was a sign right above it, and it was a local or just a countrywide airlines that just goes to the different cities from Kyiv. And I ended up in Dnipro. That was my first place I ended up.
Dnipro.
I thought that was going to be a great place. I didn't know. It was just a gut feeling. And
so what was the experience?
Oh my goodness. I got to Dnipro. I got an Airbnb. I ended up staying there. I had one suitcase in my hand, and I ended up staying there for over 2 weeks. That's how great it was.
How great it was. So what did you like? What was the first impression? Why did you fell in love, let's say,
well,
with
what was
Ukraine?
Interesting is that I actually felt very awkward the first day, like a little intimidated actually, because I go out of my room and I'm walking down the street, and everybody, not even some people, even the beautiful women, they were sitting there staring at me. And everywhere I went, men and women were staring at me like I couldn't decide whether they wanted to kill me or they wanted to love me. It was kind
so you stood out somehow.
I stood out like a complete foreigner. Which now I understand. I mean, I'm dressed in tan and brown and blue, and you are in black, like everybody else in this country are dressed in black. And so I realized soon, and my hair looks like Hollywood, and so it was obvious. But okay, whatever. I'm here. Love me or hate me, but I'm here.
And so thankfully, you've been experiencing love rather than hate.
Absolutely, yes.
Part, right?
I mean, it's been great.
This is something very important, that the message that I keep on sending to all of the foreigners listening to my podcast is that even right now it's safe in Kyiv and it's fun in Kyiv, and a lot of people don't understand how come we're having fun while during the wartime, to which I always say it's the best time to actually live your life to the fullest, because you don't know when your life's gonna end. So, I mean, let's face it, we have shelling, still, we have a pretty solid air defense system, but still, you never know. And war has restarted lives of so many of us. And we started living the life to the fullest and not putting it on the shelf.
That's right.
What I want to wish to people all around the world, and especially want to invite all of foreigners here to Ukraine to experience Ukrainian hospitality.
Absolutely.
And experience just how not like you hear it is right here. Maybe you can jump on the bandwagon.
Sure, I'd love to. So it's interesting because I was contacted by the Ukrainian government about maybe December of 24. They wanted me to come and help with their crops. They had a mold issue, and it's almost on the in the Carpathian Mountains in that area.
Which government called
The
it?
Ukrainian government.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
American embassy? Or the
Well, no, they had put a request out. They needed help, people that in my industry, to help them figure out what is hurting the crop.
Interesting. We don't have people of this caliber in Ukraine.
They couldn't figure it out.
Wow.
So they were outsourcing. Of course, they go to America to find that out. America's got
That's cool. Okay.
and so I was contacted and to come here and to help or offered my assistance.
Wow, that actually makes you one of the best specialists if they found you. So
Yeah.
that speaks your reputation speaks for itself.
Yeah, well, thank
Probably.
you.
Okay.
And so they had planned for February, and February is not a great month for hunting down these type of things because a lot of the microorganisms will go dormant in the cold weather, and so they knew that they have their
That was beginning of the year, right?
of this year, yeah, in February.
Mhm.
And so as the day approached that I was supposed to come here, they canceled, they postponed. It wasn't a good time. I guess they were having there was a lot of stuff going on with the war, and this was not as important. So they postponed it. They said, we promise we will call you back. We don't know when, but we will call you back. Well, about a month ago, I get a call and says, can you come out now? So that's why I came out this time.
Awesome.
And so I was able to help with the agricultural issues they're having. I spent a day in the field in a small town. I can't really tell you where that is.
Okay.
But it is an area that they needed assistance. So I took samples, ground samples, and different various samples that I will take back to the United States, and we will test it and determine exactly what's going on.
This is something that, in a way, bridges the gap between our country. This type of problem that we cannot solve ourselves. That's why we were looking for help. And let's face it, during the war, a lot of our pilots have been having trainings. I heard a friend of mine has got a relative in Denver, and he says that Ukrainian pilots are flying over Denver.
Yeah, my son lives in Denver. He told me the same thing. He told me that there's a lot of warplanes flying over Denver.
So I mean, that's so cool that our countries are cooperating, and that brings our people closer to each other. Even though I know that there is a part.
I did come as a private sector, though. I did not come as a government. Anybody related to the government.
Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit to more of a personal life, man, because my podcast is called Be Yourself. It's about finding your path in life and not betraying your values. Regardless of what people say, do what you want. That's what I stand by. That's what I want to wish to all the people around me, that you owe it to yourself to do whatever you want and try things out. Even if you fail, try something that you're passionate about. And I asked you yesterday if you would call yourself an adventure seeker, to which you said absolutely yes, right? So if we were to describe your personality, what would you say are now 1, 2, 3 main traits that made you this adventure seeker, and that not made you sit at home and just live a normal American life?
Yeah. So for me, I ask so many questions when I go into a new environment or a new place.
You're inquisitive.
I could sit here and I could question you for
oh really? We can change places.
Absolutely. Because I want to know everything I can know about something.
That's so cool.
And so I ask questions. And so I read when I was a little kid, and I'll never forget this, that I read in this book that if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And you can never ask too many questions. People may get frustrated with your questions over and over, but at the same time, you are constantly learning when you are asking questions.
So number one, curiosity.
Curiosity. And then I wanted to know if I was going to jump into a situation, I want to know everything about it I can. And so it's just like this thing with the war. People said I was crazy. And it happened with COVID too. When I came over here during COVID, people said, are you crazy? It's loaded with COVID and you don't want to travel during COVID. COVID's everywhere, because it was still an unknown back then when I came here. And so this time when I came, I posted on my Facebook page. I said, "Hey, I'm going to Ukraine." People and all my close
They're
friends,
going nuts.
they say, "Are you crazy? Are you nuts? What are you? What are you? Is that? Are you just signing up for a death sentence?"
Oh my goodness!
I know, and I said to myself, "These guys are idiots. How can you say that? How can you? All you hear is what's on the news. You have no idea what it's like. People in Kharkov and Sumy and all these places where they're bombed constantly, and you see pictures of devastated buildings and flattened communities and all that. They're still living there. People are still living there.
They over exaggerate their
And that's right. So you see one building that's blown up and flattened, and you think that, and now you've assigned this thought that
to
it's
all
that the whole place is bad,
Yeah.
and it's all dangerous.
Yeah.
And so I'm not that type. I have no judgment in my life. You can tell me the worst of the worst, and I will not change my thought about you unless it's something that offends me personally. I would never think something different about you. And so I decided, instead of listening to all the American media, which is most of it's full of crap, and people that just read the paper or get on the internet, I decided, no, I'm not going to place judgment on what I think. I'm going to Kyiv. That's the capital of Ukraine. I know what it was like when I came during COVID, and I'm going to come here during the war. And if I got to sit in a bomb shelter the whole time, I'm going to do it. But I want to be here. I want to experience.
You want to know firsthand.
I want to experience firsthand the fear that the typical Ukrainian citizen, the first time they saw that convoy of hundreds of Russian tanks coming down the road headed for Kyiv, they got a big surprise when they on their way here. But you didn't know that when you first saw that. You thought my life is over, and you just thought you were going to become a communist country again. And so with that, I came here to look for the war. It took me 3 days and nights in Kyiv before I saw any sign of it. The streets are loaded with people. The mall is jam-packed. There's thousands of cars going up and down the road, like a 7 million people population city. They thrive, they live into the fullest, and so they are living life as if it's just another day in Kyiv. And so I treated it like that. And so I started exploring. I started driving around, and I hired a taxi to take me around and look around and see things. And I knew somebody here, a good friend, and so I've spent time with them as well. And we've had a great time together. And so I'm sitting here, and now it's midnight 2 nights ago, and all of a sudden the alarm goes off. I didn't even know what it sounded like after 3 days here. And the security from the hotel came out to me and said, "Hey, the alarm's going off. Let me show you where the bomb shelter is in our building." So he takes me down there. It looks around. There's not anybody in this bomb shelter. The alarm's been going off for 15 minutes. I'm thinking, this is about as serious as it gets right here. I come back. He said, "If you want to stay here, go ahead." I said, "No, I'm going to come back up here." I came back to the lobby and came out and
lighted
my cigar.
Yeah, man, this is crazy. I mean, not that we should underestimate the alarm, but it might sound a bit shocking to you guys, but the level of sensitivity has fallen dramatically.
Absolutely.
In this respect. And I mean, as I said earlier, we're not fatalists, but we're pretty much okay. I think I heard that there's more chance right now to die in a car crash rather than get hit by a rocket. So you get used to everything. And yeah, that's just the fact of the matter. You get used to everything. And even such a horrendous thing as bombing of your city, you can get used to it as well.
Now, I would say that you get used to it until you are that victim.
Yes.
Gets hit with that one missile.
You have someone
close
who was
a neighbor.
affected.
Yes. Yeah. And so, my friends that I have here, I've actually said, "Please be careful when you go out." And she'll say, "Oh, it's okay. Everything's fine." I'm like, don't underestimate anything. But they after 3 years, they become so familiar with the alarms going off and nothing going wrong.
Yeah.
That it's just a way of life now. It's just part of it. And if I go, I go. I'm going to go some way, right? But I'm not going to be fearful. I'm not going to run from the enemy because I'm going to live my life the way I live.
I want to roll back to what you said about not laying judgment I remember this quote by Walt Whitman. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This guy, he received even some kind of award because what they were able to accomplish was stunning. No one expected this from a TV show, but they are actually showed how to be good people, and Ted Lasso is just a manifestation of how you're not judging others.
That's
His
right.
favorite quote is by Walt Whitman: "Be curious, not judgmental."
Mm.
So, and that exactly what you're talking about. So, whatever people say to you, and you feel like you don't understand, and you want to hate, or you want to cast aspersions, rather than judging or putting a label, dig deeper,
That's right.
ask more questions.
So for me, it's not fair for me to judge you if I don't know you. For me to listen to my friend tell me about you and your issues,
It's
that's
also not
wrong.
fair.
That's
It's their perception.
that's their perception. I need to find my own perception. I need to know for myself what's right and what's wrong. And so I will never take somebody else's word for it. You can tell me and you can say what you think it might be like in Kyiv, but until I come here and see for myself, there's no way that I'm going to perceive it as what you
I need
think.
to take note of this life lesson, man. But whatever people or news, whoever says about anything, it's just a matter of how they perceive, or a matter of, when we're talking about news, is a matter of what's more favorable for them
That's
to
right.
say, because
right.
we know that all the news, not only in America and Ukraine,
True.
all around the place, is controlled by the government.
By money.
And but yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna go that road.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you more something on the personal front.
Okay.
Ukraine, and let's put it this way: Eastern Europe has become a destination or a place to go for foreigners from all around the world to potentially find the love of their life, and to find someone to have family with.
Mm.
I mean, that's something that I can say without a shadow of the doubt. I mean, I know that we have a lot of bride agencies, right? And regardless of how you view that, it works. Therefore, it's successful, and that's why that thing exists. That phenomena exists.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me if you had some experience with this type of agencies, or maybe websites, right? And give us more of a helicopter view, because I know that why is that so that we have established this kind of reputation.
Yeah. So for years, it's kind of been a judgmental battle, at least in my country, because the Slavic world has had such a bad reputation.
Oh my goodness.
For order brides, the brides are on a menu. You go down the list, you pick one that looks nice.
Horrible reputation, because historically people think that they will only rip you off. That's
right? It, exactly. That's right. And that's still very prevalent in the United States. And so even my friends have said, you be careful. I can show you a text from yesterday, a friend of mine on my phone who said, be careful of her. Okay, right. So that's the world that I live in. Mm-hmm. That's the stigma. And so again, if you haven't tried it, or if you're happily married in America, that's great. You can think that, but until you live that out, you don't know. And yes, there are cases where there's been a very huge corruption in that industry, and I get it. So that's why you've got to do your own research and your own homework, and you've got to find...
The same what that you just said previously.
That's right.
You only experience this firsthand, then you believe.
That's right. So if I get ripped off, then I get ripped off. But then does that mean that I'm not going to do it again? Does that mean that there's other agencies that are still bad, or are they all bad? Or are there still some legitimate, good agencies?
Yes.
And so I went down that road a couple of years ago, and yes, there was one agency, and I can't even blame the agency, but I can blame the girl that I met. That is one thing I can say.
Well, agencies should do some, let's call, pre-qualification.
They do, but that can be a little bit as well, because all they do is verify that the woman is real.
She exists.
They check her passport and they check a box and say, yep, she's been verified. But they don't know criminal backgrounds. They don't know whether they're honest or dishonest, they just put it online. So anyway, I happened to meet one that was very money hungry. American came over.
When was that?
This was during COVID. This is
So
one
that
of
was
those trips.
your first
The
experience.
second trip here.
Second. So in a way, the stigma actually
It was very legitimate.
confirmed itself.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
So here I am, but then I found a legitimate site, which is a little bit more difficult because
Can you name the site?
I
No?
don't
Okay,
know
we
if that's
won't.
good or not, but it is a very legitimate site. I did my homework. I actually met a woman on this site and ended up living with, or not living with her, but and she was a Ukrainian refugee that moved to Munich, Germany, and I spent almost 2 years with her.
Wow.
We were totally in love and had a great. It was the best 2 years of my life.
Wow. That's something that can waver negative experience.
Absolutely. And so call it what you want, but I found one that I could have ended up with the rest of my life. Unfortunately, she had family issues and things, and we had to part friends. But we left telling each other we loved each other and we wished each other well. Great relationship.
Great.
So
How old was she?
36.
36. Okay.
Yeah. I'm 60. Little awkward, but it is what it is. And so she cared about me so much. I mean, first thing she did is introduce me to her parents. And if a Ukrainian woman introduces you to her parents,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. That's correct. And big festival, or food. They gave me a Ukrainian shirt with the design on the shirt. I mean, it was a great experience. Very valid, very good relationship. Much better than I would ever have found in the United States.
And you decided to give it a second try, which is admirable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
A lot of people, they pretty much mark things with a certain color after one experience. They're not giving it with a second shot.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Which is a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people are not, life in the world is never black and white, and people is never black and white.
Never.
And we wanna say it's either black or white because it's easier for us to understand. But there's so much gray color in the middle. There's so many things. But yeah. Okay.
And so what that left me in my memory is how amazing this woman was, but not that. She taught me so much about the Ukrainian culture, the way she lived, the way she acted, the way she yelled at me, the way she loved me.
Cooked.
The cook, I mean, really everything. Her mother was just amazing. Her dad was a worker, so he wasn't around very much, but just an amazing family that I could learn so much and glean information from them on the lifestyle. And I fell in love with that.
So cool. Would you say that Ukrainian women have more traditional views on starting and running a family?
Absolutely. I believe that no matter how a woman or a man turns out when they grow up, that they are taught, if they live with parents who love them, that the woman will be raised and taught how to love a man later in life. So that's part of their growing up. That's part of the process as a child, that the parents teach them through their own actions, their own interactions with their spouse.
Yeah, if
how to live and how to love.
If the role models are fucked up.
That's correct. Right.
I know the thing about children. I don't have children, but I was told that children, they never do what they're told to do, but they will copy
absolutely
exactly what they see.
That's right. That's right.
That's why you should lead by example.
That's right. Exactly. And so, and that's the same with a man. A man learns from their parents, if they're taught properly, how to love their wife as they get older, when they get older and have their own families. And so I've learned that's very valid. I mean, anybody I've met, it's like that. I've met people that had bad relationships with their family, and I know who they're like now. But it's like that everywhere. That's not just Ukraine, but Ukrainians take it very seriously, especially the women. And so in America, and I'm not saying all American women are like this, but at least the last 50 I've known, they're spoiled. American women are spoiled rotten. and so they expect things. I mean, maybe there's a characteristic that Ukrainian women are after Americans' money. Well, American women are after Americans' money. Trust me. I mean, it's no different. And so, but I don't believe that about Ukrainian women.
Right.
Maybe there's a few bad apples out there, but the average American Ukrainian woman is all about the family. The family is the most important thing, with or without any money. If they have love and security and they know that they're safe, they will love you like none other.
And I can say from the standpoint of a Ukrainian male that we've been spoiled. And Hank told me that some of the ladies that he dated, they actually told him that some Ukrainian men were abusive, right,
Yes.
and toxic. And I don't want to generalize. Definitely, we do have bad apples, but I can see why Ukrainian women value Americans because of the treatment they give to them, right?
Absolutely.
Probably sometimes we might be too spoiled having so many beautiful women. It's not, but Hank told me that American ladies are also beautiful. But I mean, my God, guys, sometimes when you walk the streets of Kyiv, it's unfair.
Absolutely, yes. But you can go to. So I live in Virginia Beach, which
Oh
is
my
right,
God.
which is right on the Atlantic Ocean. And so you go to the beach and you're going to see millions of beautiful women there too. So they're everywhere. But what separates, to me, what separates an American woman from a Ukrainian woman is her desire to please her husband and to provide a loving, caring family. It's really interesting because when I do meet an Ukrainian woman, one of the first things she'll tell me is, "I'm a great cook."
Oh my goodness.
It's almost as if she's trained as a child. Her mother tells her, "You must learn to cook well. That will keep your husband at home and will keep him happy."
Well, we have a saying that goes something like that: that the key to the heart of a man
is his stomach.
His stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I think I want to ask you one of the signature questions of my show, because before you can be yourself, you have to find yourself. And to be your authentic self, you have to find what really speaks to your heart. So for you, it's being curious, traveling the world, finding out, learning more about people and cultures. But in terms of making money, do you agree that you have questions that contains two in one? First one, do you agree that we can transform hobby into our profession? And the second one is, how did you start your business, Hank?
It's a great question because that's something you don't know anything about me, and it answers that question directly. So here you go. So I have always loved helping people. Even as a teenager, I would help my friends who had to cut the grass in their yard. I would go over there and say, "Hey man, let me push the mower. I want to do it." And I loved doing it. And so I was.
Why do you like, one question, why do you like doing it?
Because I like making people's lives easier. I'm passionate about that.
Cool. Okay.
That's my thing.
Like with something
It's been a
really
lifelong.
difficult, not with something that they take the loads off their shoulders, something like
No,
that.
it's all because I want to help them make their life easier.
Okay.
And I don't care about anything in return. See, so I like to give and don't receive.
That's interesting.
There's nothing about, I could care less. If I tell you, "Hey man, you're a great guy. You're outstanding. I want to be your friend forever." And you say, and you don't even answer me, or you just say, "Okay." Now I could take that as an insult, or I could just walk away and be okay with it. But I put out what I felt, and whether you receive it or not, whether you respond to that or not, it doesn't matter to me because I'm okay either way.
So you're a giver.
I want you to know that I am here for you if you ever need me.
Okay.
So with that said, as I grew up and I started, and we have hurricanes on the East Coast of the United States all the time, during from June until October. And so these storms can come into areas and just flatten,
Oh my goodness.
wipe them out. Or even worse, instead of flattening the houses, it will flood them. And these are 2-3 story homes, and the water will come up into the second floor. I even went to a storm about 12 years ago that they had to cut the roof out of the house for people to get out of the house to rescue them. That's how high. So it went up 3 stories. The water was that high.
Evacuated, yeah.
Evacuated, and they had to go through the roof to get out of their homes. And so what for years I would, when after a storm, I would load my truck full of supplies, like put water in it, like cases of water, tools. I do construction by trade, and so I would take tools and supplies and all kinds of things that you could need in a disaster zone.
Wow.
And what I would do is I would drive into these communities, and I would just drive up and down the streets. And when something inside my heart said, stop here, I would stop here. And there's the house right there. So there could be 15 houses on that street, and something told me to stop right here. And I would stop, and I would get out of my truck, and I would walk to the door, knock on the door, and the people may be inside crying, or just their whole life is devastated. And so I would tell them, my name is Hank, and I want to introduce myself. And you might think this is strange, but I just felt like I should stop here at your house and help you clean up your house. And you would get, I can't tell you the number of types of looks that you would get. But once they're convinced and they knew that I was trustworthy and that I meant what I said, their house was open, their family was open, and I would go in there and spend 3-4 days with all my tools, tearing out the inside of their homes, running all the trash to the streets, doing all that stuff, giving them water. My wife at the time, she would load my truck with all my old clothes so that I could take and give people clothes if they needed it while I was there. And so even my favorite things, we would just give them away because they needed it. I didn't need it. They needed it, and I was there to help them. And I would serve them. And so I did that for probably 15 years.
Wow.
And then I realized that I could get into the business and make money doing it. And that's where I turned what I passionately loved, into my business by going and helping people solve their.
Dude, I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
I mean, this means that I really, really resonate with what you're saying. Because this is a testament that you are a pure heart, and you really. But it seems to me that people never want to believe that you're there for without any agenda, right? And that's something that I wish didn't exist in us. But this someone who doesn't believe, non-believer, who lives in us.
But do you know why that is? It's because you've been abused your whole life, mentally, emotionally. You've been abused your whole life to believe not to trust, to believe that somebody's got an alternative motive, to believe that somebody wants something in return. They don't understand the few people in this world that don't want anything in return, could care less about getting anything back in return. There's virtually very few. This was something that I learned over my life. And that I've lived this life now for the last 20 years like this, where I will, if I've only got $5, you need some money right now, I'll give you the rest of my money in my pocket right this second. You see, I mean, and I wouldn't even blink an eye.
One of my podcast guests, Alan Langer, he owns 7 Secret Sales Academy. He's a trainer and goes a lot around the country and teach his people sales. He's got a book, and the main principle of his book, the first principle is help, not sell. Help, not sell. I think I have this feeling that you have been successful with your business because you're also not intrusively trying to sell. You're just helping, and people know that, hey, there's this guy Hank who I can recommend.
That's right.
Because he really want to help. And by the way, he can charge you for that. But it's not like you will rip them off.
That's exactly right.
And this is so admirable. And I've been trying to build my business like that. Even when, for example, the customer doesn't need my specific services, you know what we can do? We can say, no, let's just not work together, or I can think of someone who can actually help
That's
her.
right. And you can refer that person.
Refer the person without any
Absolutely.
reward for
Finder's fee.
Finder's fee. And that's a game changer, man.
Yeah.
That's a game changer, and I think it takes longer. Okay, it might take longer. But it probably generally takes longer to build a career or business like that, because other people who are engaged in some manipulation techniques, they might have a faster result, but all these results will be fake and temporary. What we're doing with Hank, we're building long lasting relationships with people, and long lasting relationships will deliver you business down the road 100%.
That's right. So just give you a quick social example of this. So I'm speaking to this woman here, as I told you, that I'm spending time with her. I've known her for almost about 9 or 10 months now. We've talked almost every day for that long. We video back and forth, the FaceTime, back and forth regularly. And so we see each other, we've known each other, we've interacted with each other. But then when I met her for the first time face to face, she was not this person that I had interacted with for all this time, because what she went right into
survival mode.
She went into, oh, what does he want from me?
Yeah,
I'm a beautiful woman. What do I want? What does he want from me? He thinks that I'm just some easy Ukrainian woman, when this is her perception. I can tell, I can read her, and this is what she's thinking, that he's after something. So she's very introverted in our interactions at first, because all the things that she learned about me over the months, now we're face to face. She's not hiding behind a screen anymore. Now I'm real, and now she thinks I'm just the next guy on the street.
Yeah.
And so it took me time for her to see, and she's still learning that about me, that I don't come with any agenda. I don't come to steal her for the night or the weekend, that I am here for the lifelong run. And she's learning that everything that I say is 100% honest and truthful, and that she can count on me for her well-being, for her safety, for her child's well-being and her safety, and that I'm a man of integrity and somebody that's going to do everything that I say I did. And so the problem is that the past boyfriends, the past husbands, the trials in life that failed, all those things are things that we carry with us. And if we can learn to lay those things down at our next relationship, whether it's just friends like you and me, or whether it's sexual relationship, or whatever the case might be, whatever the relationship is, we cannot bring our past into the present.
Well, so, in a way, it speaks to this naivety. I'm not sure if there's a word like that, naive nature of the person. If you are, I think you can be lightly naive, and it will play to your advantage, because if you're skeptical all the time, and you carry the bag from the past,
exactly,
right? It's a burden from the past. It will not give you a chance to find love, to find happiness, to find new friends.
And it's not fair to the person you're interacting with, because now you've placed all this past judgment on your new relationship. Yeah. And so it already starts out in jealousy, and you're already finished before you start.
Right, man. Last word from you, maybe look directly into the camera, okay. And I don't know, anything you want to say to your to your American friends, or people in Ukraine, any message?
Hey guys, so especially for my golfing friends, I love to play golf, and all you guys said that I was crazy for coming here. I got news for you, you're all wrong. I mean, this place is phenomenal. It's an amazing country. The people here are wonderful. Sometimes they might be a little bit more introverted than we're used to in America. And that's okay, because once you break that ice with them, there's a whole culture and a whole life that can be, that you'll find new and refreshing, and bring new peace and new happiness into your life. I'm grateful that I've met this guy, man. He's awesome. We connected from the second he came up to me. I mean, vendors on the street, peddlers, they try to sell you something. This guy, man, he's just a super friendly guy. And I'm grateful that I met him, and now I've got a friend for life, and I look forward to just coming back here. And I'm going to bring friends with me next time, because you guys are not going to sit at home and give me crap and for doing it. I came, I judged, and now I say it's fun, and let's enjoy life together.
Cool. That was Hank Miller, everybody. Thank you, man.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you.
You're looking for a quality video production provider? Look no further. My name is Sergey and I own Beverly Production. We are a video production agency from Ukraine. You know, we help entrepreneurs to create credible online, offline podcasts and clips that drive interest, you know, to promote your podcast. As a podcaster myself, I early realized that there are not that many podcasts that put an emphasis on quality and creativity, you know, just making your videos look really, really cool. That's why we mix our videos up with different visual aids, sound effects, flashy transitions. We do dynamic switching and other cool creative things that just set apart your podcast from your competition. You can check our samples on the website, and we also help people to post the videos. So we take over YouTube management, and we can also run TikTok and LinkedIn for you. So if you're interested in something of this kind, don't hesitate to book a call with me. The contacts are available on the website. Thanks a lot.